Hey everyone, so we just got back from Insomnia 52. I'm joined today by my friend Clarkie.
Hello!
Not Sam or Adam, because Sam did not want to go and watch a bunch of people sit down and play Dota 2 for a couple of days, because that's what his new housemates do. And Adam is still stranded in the middle of nowhere, so we can't do much.
Yeah, I hope we can get back in touch with him soon. I really do miss him.
Yeah, we really do miss Adam. I've asked him to do a couple of things for the channel, which should be coming up recently, so that's going to be fun. Anyway, so for those of you who don't know, Insomnia 52 is it's kind of a gaming festival. To a degree. It kind of started off as a massive LAN party where a bunch of people would connect computers. So, Clarkie, you've been for a couple of years now. Could you explain? Because I have no idea what it was really like.
Initially, Insomnia was a LAN event where you could bring your computers, have it set up in a LAN environment, and then just play video games for 4 days straight, which is what most people tend to do, me included. But recently, sort of starting last year, they've been introducing more exhibitions. And last year was actually the first time that Minecraft was a main sort of event there, and the Ogscast were sort of there to do panels and stuff.
I would be very curious to know what the numbers were like in the previous years before they started doing Minecraft panels and things, because, I mean, to kind of explain, Clarkie has a very big gaming PC, and of course he does the thing of bring your own computer.
Yeah.
I went along with some other people, and I went around looking at the panels and the things because that was what I was interested in. And it was a bit embarrassing when I went to the big PC room because I did not have a computer with me, so I was just kind of like sitting there watching people play TF2 or whatever. And at one point I brought out my tablet and started playing Flappy Yarn to mess with people, which was quite a bit of fun, actually.
Yeah, trying to psych me out in the middle of a game by playing Flappy Yarn.
Take that, TF2 tournaments.
You're putting me off my game, man, jeez.
You're just jealous of my mad Flappy Yarn skills.
I cannot disagree with that previous statement.
That's incredible. So yeah, it's big thing there was definitely the Ogscast generally. I'm kind of a fan of their stuff. I am subscribed to many of the channels and I do enjoy what they do. I'm not the biggest fan of the Minecraft stuff generally. I'm a little bit sort of tired of watching endless Minecraft videos, though I still watch them and they're still very good.
Yeah.
Especially compared to many of the Minecraft videos on YouTube you'll find these days.
Many.
But yeah, when they're just messing around playing Gmod or Civilization, it's kind of fun to watch a big group of friends just play things together. So, let's start off with the positive things, I guess. So, yeah, Clarkie, what was positive about kind of like the whole actual big gaming experience?
Well, I mean, for those of you who don't know, I am a massive TF2 fan, or Team Fortress 2 fan, so I spent the majority of that weekend in Insomnia just playing TF2. And there was a big tournament that was held where people from America and Australia came to Coventry and took part, and the Friday night and Saturday sort of day where they had all of the tournaments, it got very sort of hype in the LAN centre, so to speak.
I heard some people like screaming in the background. It's just like, yeah, that person's clearly playing Dear Esther.
yeah. Well, I mean, Dear Esther is the most hype you can get at LAN.
Exactly. Like there was Halo, there was Call of Duty, and then MLG switched over to Dear Esther because that is clearly the best multiplayer.
360 no sulk.
Yes. Speaking honestly, I do like Dear Esther though. It's not really a good game, but it's interesting for what it's trying to do. It's a pretty island. Anyway, back on track. So yeah, how'd TF2 go?
It was really good. I mean, when I played, we did awfully because, you know, people not good as other people and the like. But it was fun watching the people who are at the higher end of the tournament play. There was a really big match, actually, between one of the American teams and the top European team. Mm-hmm. And it went right down to the wire. And as soon as the... well, spoilers... Okay. As soon as the European team won, the sort of TF2 area just exploded with people chanting the European team name Epsilon. It was amazing. I did kind of feel bad for the American team afterwards, though, since it was kind of one-sided chanting, but, you know.
That's a pity. I mean, from what I saw of it, I did see some of the end-like game. It did seem to be pretty intense, and the people watching it, actually, on the big screens and things, were very much into it. So glad to see it kind of became interesting. Because nothing's more awkward than watching a video game where, like, one side is completely thrashing the other. You know, like most Halo games.
Speaking of which, that was probably one of my biggest gripes, because the finals of the TF2 match happened at 10 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. Now, bearing in mind that the match I was talking about previously went on until 2 o'clock in the morning, the European team were not exactly their top performance, so to speak, and it was kind of very one-sided during that Sunday match. So yeah, that was a bit of a disappointment, but
that's a shame.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of problems related to the morning, the campground.
Do we have to talk about this? I get really bad flashbacks over this.
It's okay, we'll come back to that. Yeah, I was not involved in any of that. I saw basically the other side of things. I was upstairs looking at the main conference hall and going to many of the panels and things. So we went around and we looked at a couple of things. Unfortunately, I'm sad to say I was a very grumpy sod for like most of that weekend.
Why was that?
I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe it's because I was just really tired from getting up early in the morning. So apologies to everyone who was around me. I probably did not make Insomnia a better experience. So we went around looking at things. There were so many Minecraft fans there generally, and I play Minecraft, but it's kind of a little bit awkward because you go to many of these panels and things, and it's very, very clearly aimed at the younger audience or whatever. They got shown up on the stage for just about everything they could do. And I understand that completely. I mean, if you had to choose between getting like a teenager up on the stage or an adult or making some kid's day, then you're going to make the kids' day, really. They love it. Yeah,
you would probably know that firsthand now, wouldn't you, Mike?
Yes. Why did you reject me, Noxite? So this is one of the only things I was really that enthusiastic about was because I am quite a big fan of the Nox crew, generally. They made a map called Joffrey's Chamber, it's kind of like the Stanley Parable in Minecraft, if the Stanley Parable's narrator had a teenage son who was trying to do the same thing, and was a hilarious sociopath, who spoke in a really camp voice, so that's a really cool thing they make. Okay. And they, this was the other big problem, many of the panels were rife with technical difficulties. We were waiting around for the Nox Crew game show, and it did not happen. They got it temporarily set up at one point, but something went wrong. It looked like it was set on the wrong game mode that they intended to play, and they might have tried fixing that or resetting it, and then the whole system broke down again, and yeah, we'd been waiting there for like maybe over an hour, and the people running it just came on stage like, hey, sorry, we tried so hard, it's not happening, we're really sorry, we're handing out some posters. And I did something I thought I would never do. I actually rushed to the front to try and get one. And of course, like, they all went out to the kids. So it's just like, no, Noxite, why are you rejecting me?
Well, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, Insomnia was never about the panels or the exhibitions beforehand. It used to be just about the video games, the tournaments, and then having all of the sponsors having sort of stands there so that people could buy stuff.
Yeah.
Like, having all of these sort of panels and everything was a new sort of addition, and you can kind of tell that they're not exactly very used to doing those sort of things.
Yeah, though, some of the smaller panels were okay. We went to two different places, generally. Where we went to the really big tent that was right in the centre of the stadium, where they were doing many of the big Minecraft things.
Yeah.
And the Yogscast Q&A, the first one with, I think it was Hannah, Kim, Shin, and Terps. Yeah. That went really, really well, actually. They seemed to be having a good time. At the end, they played some kind of game where you play as narwhals trying to stab each other. And
interesting.
That was a lot of fun to watch, and just watching them have fun with things, generally.
Okay.
The second one, where they got in Hat Films and Sips, I didn't get to stick around for a lot of it, because we had to go home, unfortunately. But they introduced everyone. They were all up on stage wearing their headsets, ready to play Trouble in Terrace Town, I think it was. And then they started off, and the microphones began echoing. You couldn't really hear what was saying. It sounded like some of the people were like yelling from the back of a church hall, while others were sort of making these loud screechy noises. Other people you couldn't hear at all, and they kind of stopped and awkwardly froze. And we were there saying this for like a couple of minutes, and we were like, oh.
Yeah, I can't imagine that would have been too fun to sort of be experiencing.
Yeah, and it's a pity because generally a lot of the people they got in seemed actually really nice. We spoke to some of the Nox Crew people. We went to they had a thing set up where you could play in the game show, like not on the stage or anything.
Oh, okay.
But they just put people into these sort of rows of computers, and that was working fantastically. And we spoke to this really, really cool guy explaining like why they do the game show and what's awesome about it. And yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. So it was kind of a pity that they got these people up on stage, and more often than not, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't actually get to see most of the panels, mainly because I was either in a tournament or just doing something else at the venue.
Yeah.
But, yeah, from what you were telling me, they were not having a good day with technology during that weekend.
No, we might have only turned up to the panels which weren't really working. It was whenever they had to try and get anyone playing a game on stage, typically for multiplayer, things went a bit wrong. Survival games took a while to get started, but that worked out. There was a bit of an awkward moment in that one, because they had a bit of an issue teleporting to players for camera views.
Right.
Because I think they had a setup where you could type in any name you wanted, and that would be your username, but all the accounts are things like mplayer13 or whatever, or mplayer15. Just generic multiplayer names, and then it would change the name on screen.
Okay.
And you had to type in actually that original thing, the M-player thing or whatever, to teleport to them. So the end result was they were just following around Syndicate, watching him kill people, and then someone else, I think the Diamond Minecart or whoever, won at the end of a round, and you didn't get to see it because everyone got teleported to the centre, and then by the time they'd found the centre to watch the final fight, it was already over.
Oh, okay.
GG. They got it fixed in the second one though, so fair play to them. That was actually quite interesting to watch, and some of the kids they got on stage did a fairly good job. One of them got wiped out early, but one of the kids managed to get into like the final fight and only lost at the last second. So good on that kid. Good on that kid.
I hope he was thoroughly rewarded for his bravery.
I think I'm not sure. I think they handed out a couple of things. I know the Nox Crew were like giving out posters and other things as their prizes.
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on there, but I think they probably got something or other.
Okay, that's good then.
So, moving away from the big stuff, there were a lot of indie games I looked at, generally. I didn't really focus on many of the bigger things. I think Evolve was there.
Yeah, that's definitely not an indie game.
No. That was one of the cooler things at E3 this year.
Yes, it is a really good game. It's made by the same people who made Left 4 Dead, so I'm expecting good things from that game.
Yeah, the queue was kind of massive for that, but generally I'm a bit of a weird person in that I play things which are amazingly popular or mainstream, like Assassin's Creed and Halo, or I play things that people have never heard of, like The Lost Crown or Total Distortion. So,
well, I mean,
yeah.
it's better than me, who has been playing TF2 straight for about 5 years now. So,
you got a big Steam library. Anyway, back on track. So the indie games, they kind of had a bit of a weird mix-up with those, in that there were some really, really good ones there. There's a game called Alone by, I think it was Laserdog Studios, and it's a very simple little game. You navigate the space pod through sort of cliffs and like these tunnels and things, avoid crashing into the walls, randomly generated pathways and things. And it's a very, very simple game, but because of the music, the general feel, and the tight controls, that was a lot of fun. And I just sat there chatting to this guy, like constantly trying to beat my high score for a good, like, 5-10 minutes. And I managed to get into the top 10, thankfully. I've probably been kicked out as of when I left the event, but oh well. For a moment, I had almost not fame, so great.
Well, I mean, it does sound like you were enjoying the game quite a lot if you were there for that long, so...
That was a very good one. There were a couple of other ones we took a look at. There's a game I think it's called Panarium or something, and that's a kind of cool game where you're playing this little guy who's walked into the circus the wrong way and finds himself part of the death attraction. Don't ask, it makes sense in context. And you're jumping around trying to break barrels on these platforms. Things come to kill you, like homing rockets, evil laser beams, Chinese dragons leaping out of the floor to try and eat you. It was pretty cool. They did a tournament of that, and that was one of the few things I saw which worked out really, really well.
That's good. Well, it does. I remember you telling me about the game, and my initial thoughts were just, what?
It's kind of hard to explain. I think it crashed a lot, but I can't put that down to whether the game is not quite finished. It comes out in a couple of months.
Okay, fair enough.
Incidentally, Alone comes out Thursday this week, I think. From what the developer told me, that it might be a little bit later. It seemed very finished when we were playing it, so GG.
That's usually a good sign, yeah.
Yeah, there was, and on that subject, there were many, many unfinished little games there. We ran into a guy who had something, it was a bit like AudioSurf for Wii U. He doesn't have a name for it yet, though he's planning to release it in a couple of months, and that was kind of okay. I don't know much about the soundtrack because we're in a big hall, but that seemed alright generally. That was kind of like in the mid-level of the games we played, and then kind of towards the lower end, we played a game called Colour My World, and I've actually won a poster for that for beating the first level.
Oh, wow.
The controls were very, very floaty for that. The idea is you kind of play a cube, and you jump around, you jump into different coloured liquid, and that colours your cube, and that determines what kind of platforms you can jump on. If you're green, you will fall through any green blocks on the level. Okay. So you've actually got to avoid jumping into the water at some points, otherwise you will fall through into the death pit.
Right.
And yeah, the controls for that weren't great. It's a good concept. If they tightened up the controls a lot, then that could have gone somewhere. There were some very, very rude people at Insomnia, unfortunately. And as I was playing that, some guy walked past going, "It's clearly a rip-off of Thomas Was Alone." I was like, not really.
That doesn't sound like a rip-off of Thomas Was Alone at all, if I'm honest.
It's got cubes, rip-off! You can't have blocks in games if you're not Thomas Was Alone.
Yeah, it's like freaking hair, because it's like, oh, it's got cubes in it. It's a rip-off of Minecraft, obviously. Even though it's like, is it like a 2D game as well?
It's a 2D game. It was not a rip-off of Minecraft in any sense, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone said that. The other thing which was kind of interesting generally was there were quite a few cosplayers around for the sort of cosplay like competition on the Saturday. Yeah. And there were some pretty awesome looking people there. There were some people dressed up as the Pac-Man ghosts just running around sheets. There were quite a few Assassin's Creed cosplayers actually, and I'm quite a fan of the series. Some of the cosplayers were a bit better than others, but a lot of people were making their own costumes actually rather than buying them, and that was pretty impressive. I remember seeing one person, she was dressed as Connor from Assassin's Creed 3, and her cosplay was pretty awesome. She was like all over the place throughout sort of the event generally. And one of the really, really, really rude things I actually heard was she was walking down a staircase and these guys standing next to me were like, "Oh, she looks like such a fake assassin." I was like, what? What does that even mean?
As opposed to her looking like a real assassin at a convention LAN event.
By that logic, I look more like a real assassin. If I just walked around in my regular clothes and a hoodie, you wouldn't suspect me of stabbing people. But, like, yeah, if you're going around like white robes or whatever based off the American Revolution with a hood, then of course you're going to look suspicious.
Yeah.
And no one can look exactly like a video game character. Most cosplays look a bit detached from reality. So if you're kind of like saying that, also I think they were in earshot of her, so that's pretty freaking rude.
Well, I mean, I know that there were two people who came down to the Team Fortress 2 area dressed up as the sniper and soldier from TF2.
I saw those guys.
Yeah, that was really good cosplay. They had they made their own weapons and everything, and they also had a mutated loaf of bread, which if none of you know about that, you should probably watch the latest TF2 video. But yeah, it was a really good cosplay, I have to say. And yeah, I also saw one person walk around as Lara Croft, but apart from that, I didn't really see many other people.
They were kind of like mixed levels of cosplay. Something that's just always a bit weird is when a person very clearly does not look like the character they're trying to portray.
Yeah.
So that often kind of doesn't work out. You see them like wearing the outfit or whatever. I mean, I saw a couple of cosplayers like that. But I thought it was just people in weird clothes. It's like, wait a minute, it's that guy. And yeah, that was a bit strange. But generally, fair play to many of the cosplayers, and they did seem to be putting a lot of effort into their outfits. I didn't see that many which were kind of pre-bought, so that's always kind of good.
Yeah.
Because fair enough, if you want to walk around in like a costume you bought online, it takes a lot of confidence to do that, and if you can kind of like pull off the character as well, kind of act like them, that's always interesting and entertaining. But if you do make it, that takes a lot more skill and effort, so yeah.
Well, I mean, I remember my first Insomnia LAN. My online alias beforehand was Panda, and I bought myself a full-bodied panda suit, which I was planning on wearing at the LAN event. And I didn't exactly follow through on that, because for those of you who are unaware, LANs get really, really warm. And wearing a full-bodied panda suit, that also gets really, really warm. So, yeah, I didn't end up doing that.
I remember buying you an Attack on Titan fan, so you could like cool yourself off in that big hall full of people.
It came in quite handy. I did get a lot of looks from people, like, why is he using a fan? Like a hand fan, not like a, those motorized fans, like a proper, like, fan.
the ones you fold out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it did come into use. I have to thank you for those.
You're very welcome. Yes. It was like £4. So, speaking of shopping, there weren't that many things for sale there really, because as you mentioned earlier, it's generally been a LAN event up until now. So panels and like stores and things have become much more of a recent thing, from what I understand.
Well, I mean, they used to have stalls for the sponsors there. So Overclockers, who sponsored the event, they have their stand there, and they have a system where if you sit down at one of the desks and have your name registered there for playing video games, you can order something from their website and then have it delivered to your desk like the next day or the same day in the evening. So that's a really good system that they have there.
If you're cool with like sleeping on your desk, I think the idea of Insomnia is you can just never leave your PC.
Yeah, I mean, they have food covered as well, because they have the same system for food. So if you want food, just log into their website and you can just have food delivered straight to your desk.
I think the food court is open 24/7 as well, so you could just have food at any hour.
You could, and like any food as well. Like, I remember having, sweet and sour pork noodles at like 5 o'clock in the morning. It was great.
I don't think they had curry there. I would have really appreciated that.
Well, they had curry pizza, but I don't think that's the same.
Not my kind of thing, unfortunately.
That's understandable.
So, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff there. In terms of loot, I didn't really buy that much stuff. I bought Clarkie the Fan. I bought myself an Assassin's Creed scarf because they were selling those. There was a fair amount of stuff there which I also recognise you can get online, probably for cheaper, so yeah, I generally avoided a fair amount of that.
Well, I mean, there is a sort of special thing with Insomnia where you can get certain items at the LAN event for cheaper than you could otherwise. Like, I bought myself a Micro Drone 2.0, which... Yeah, would you like to explain what that is, Mike?
I'll try desperately. It's so, you know, like you used to get those little remote control, like, sort of like flying toys or whatever. It's a bit like that. You got like 4 fans, and it's a drone which you can then like send flying around with a remote control. We've been having a bit of trouble with it at the moment, getting it to work, because we're in a tiny room here, student accommodation, woo.
Woo!
So if we had a field or something, that would probably be quite helpful.
Yes.
But yeah, now is probably not the place to like try and get one of those to like fly.
Yeah, that's never stopped me before, but I think hitting the ceiling like 4 times in a row without getting much... Yeah.
They had one of those flying over the halls. If you paid £20 more, it would be £60 in total if you did that. You could get a little camera put in as well and rig it up to your computer so you could like use it as a surveillance drone.
Yeah.
And great if you want to spy on your neighbours. I'm not going to judge you, but generally, yeah, it's a little bit weird. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, the thing is, that micro drone at the LAN was a lot cheaper than it would have been otherwise. It's like half the price. So, I mean, you do get a few deals at the LAN event, which are made specifically for people attending. So, in that sort of sense, it can be quite good, but there are a lot of things that could have been a bit cheaper. Like the freaking anti-gravity gun from Half-Life 2.
Oh, that thing. I think it was like £180 or something.
Yep, £180 for a life-sized anti-gravity gun.
So to kind of explain, I actually own a replica of the Portal gun. They made about 500 of the original ones, and being the obsessive Portal fan I am, I ordered one of those instantly.
It does look really good.
It's really, really cool. I love owning that thing. I'm a little disappointed because then they said, oh yeah, we're also releasing a ton of ones where you can just set it to any colours you want, put stickers on it to customise your Portal gun. And I was like, well, if you're just releasing a ton of those, like, the uniqueness of the item is lost a bit, I guess?
Yeah.
I really don't know. So that's kind of a pity, but it happens. But yeah, that gravity gun, it looked really cool, but way too expensive, because the Portal gun only cost £100.
Yeah. So, like, spending nearly twice as much on a sort of a similar item is not exactly ideal.
I do not know if the gravity gun was like a limited run. If there were only 500 of them, I could maybe understand the price a bit. I love Half-Life 2, it's one of my favourite games, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to fork out that much for it.
Well, I mean, I was really, really tempted on buying it, but I ended up spending my money elsewhere, and I'm kind of happy I did. I mean, I was able to get a lot of sort of more smaller but more sort of unique presents as opposed to one gigantic Half-Life anti-gravity gun.
Fair enough. There was, in the festival tent, they were selling replicas of weapons from Lord of the Rings, and these were like big swords. They were full size. I think they had like Orcrist, and those things were heavy. If you hit someone with those, they'd be dead. Those were like really, really impressive, awesome replicas. I treasure my memory of holding that sword. It was great, but the sword also cost £200, and I do not have that kind of money to throw around on weaponry. So,
well, I mean, I'm an avid. Well, I wouldn't say avid, but I have been known to buy weapons myself. I mean, I have a Master Sword and a Keyblade right next to Mike right now.
Yes,
and yeah,
confirm that those are very impressive.
Yeah, but they were definitely not £100 each. I don't think many people would be forking out that sort of money for weaponry.
Nah, MCM is where you want to go if you want to go weapon shopping, apparently.
Yes, it is. Last year bought so many swords, it was unreal.
The shopping generally was quite good. There were a fair number of, like, I think Game Tea were there, and I like a lot of the stuff Game Tea produces. They kind of got these dark t-shirts and things of, like, Pokemon or whatever, these weird sort of, like, smeared black ink things of, like, Gengars and stuff.
Yeah.
Those look really awesome, but I didn't really fancy buying any of that stuff. They had a lot of Yogscast merchandise. I was slightly tempted to buy one of the Rivian hoodies. I like Rivian. He's a very, very down-to-earth Let's Player. And of the Minecraft series that have been done, his is probably my favourite because of it having a very coherent story and just generally being quite enjoyable.
Well, I mean, I don't really know much about the Yogscast, so having the Yogscast there wasn't exactly a big pull for me. But I can understand people who live in the UK who will get the chance to see them live. That's quite a big pull for them.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, there were notably a lot of children and teenagers turning up to these events. I think the Yogscast were trying their best to not swear. They'd allude to certain memes, like related to swearing throughout it at certain points. But I think it's because there were so many kids there. They did get in trouble one year because they do swear quite a bit on their channels.
They do.
And I think there was one year at Minecon where they swore the parents didn't understand that this is what they do, maybe, and that kind of escalated. I don't know the full details, but it caused them to fall out with Notch. I think they might have made up since then.
Yeah, that was quite the big incident, so...
That was quite big, but yeah, they were very noticeably not swearing, and throughout the entire thing, which was like a little strange to watch, really. Not a bad thing, but it's different.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah.
Yes, overall, pretty good. I didn't really... There was a lot of kind of like downtime in between, and I didn't really enjoy it when the panels got cancelled, generally.
No, I can't imagine. That was too fun.
There's some game I think Square Enix made, Noskov or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, that got cancelled. They tried showing off some other game, but we weren't really interested in that, so we tried sneaking away. That was really, really awkward.
Yeah, I mean, from that side of things, I think Insomnia could have done a bit of a better job, safe to say.
Oh, I just remember the hosts. You never had to experience these guys, but I think they're called Matt and Barry or something, and they've got a channel called We've Got Game or something.
Oh.
And they kept putting up this video of they kept putting up a video like promoting their channel and like saying hi to everyone at Insomnia 52. You're doing lovely. Then it's like they used the words cray cray.
Yeah, that I thought that was only reserved for people who are under the age of 5, if I was honest, but...
I've got, like, Sam uses that a lot around me, ironically, but then, like, I just sort of respond with, ain't it, JJ, and then he just wants to murder me. So, but yeah, with those guys on stage, the dynamic is ruined. It's ruined, man.
Speaking of hosts, though, I mean, Insomnia is very well known for their pub quizzes, and the pub quiz this year was really, really good. And the host of that, Wizzo, he got quite an interest. Yeah, well, he had quite a good time being told, as it were.
Ooh.
I mean, it was quite good because the start of the quiz, they had, I'm not sure if it was the same person, but they had a voiceover in the style of the Stanley Parable.
Oh.
And it basically had that voiceover pop in every now and then to make the host Wizzo do random things to progress the quiz. It was pretty hilarious.
That's a really cool idea, actually. I kind of regret not seeing that.
Well, I mean, It was really good. It was live streamed, so if you wanted to, you could watch the VOD on that on the multiplayer Twitch.
Sweet.
But yeah, it was a really fun quiz, and a lot of people got drunk there.
Yes. Oh, that's a point. There were so many like bars around. You just had to go like 50 yards in any direction, and you would have found somewhere selling alcohol.
Yes.
There was in the food court. There were like 2 or 3 different places selling things. A lot of Jägermeister, a lot of beer. And if you went next to the hall where Clarkie was, there was a very nice kind of pub area around there.
There was.
It's a bit expensive, £3.50 for a pint of cider, so...
Well, I mean, it's kind of expected when you go to an event like that. The alcohol is not exactly going to be cheap.
No, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. If you went for the cheaper stuff, like the Summersby things, it was £3.50, so I was like, okay, that's not too bad. I mean, if you live in a city, then it normally costs about that much actually anyway, if you don't have any kind of student discount or anything.
Yeah.
So, fair play to them, that was alright.
But yeah, it is one of the big things about the LAN is just getting really, really drunk. You have people who go to compete in tournaments and they don't compete unless they are completely off their head. So
Explain the yelling in the hall.
Yeah, well, I mean, you do get a lot of people who get hyper competitive, but it's like that in most sort of tournaments, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, overall, it was a lot of fun getting drunk.
Fair enough then. That's great. Come to Insomnia, get drunk.
Yes.
Get drunk with a bunch of people with expensive equipment.
Yes, that can't not go wrong in any way.
Never go wrong. I remember bringing like my cider actually into the PC hall, and I was just like, if anything goes wrong, if this spills, I am so dead. These people must be like the most defensive people in the world of their computers.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have people who make really expensive rigs, and they make them to be the most powerful machines in the world.
Yeah.
So to bring that to a LAN event, and then to have a passerby just accidentally tip beer all over it.
One who plays tablet games, no less, right next to you.
Yes, that filthy scrublord.
Oh goodness, I did get a couple of awkward looks, but I genuinely had a lot of fun just sitting there when everyone was next to me on these big powerful things. I was just there like doing, doing.
Well, I mean, it's
Go, Nyan Cat, go.
Be free. Avoid those pipes.
Oh, that was amazing. Let's bring up the thing we've been avoiding, the truly horrible thing.
Yeah.
The campsite.
I don't even want to call it a campsite, if I'm honest.
So let's imagine a quarry. Imagine they then covered it with 2 inches of dirt. We're not joking about any of this.
No, we're definitely not. I mean, this Insomnia LAN was hosted in a new venue in Coventry. Before, they had it in Telford in the International Centre, and the campsite was basically on a rugby pitch. So that was fine. That was basically just, a lot of soil, being in a tent. That's not exactly too bad to sleep in, and that was like a non-issue. But this campsite, oh my gosh.
Oh, okay, so because it was like basically a quarry underneath, it had so much rocky soil, you could not get your tent pegs into the ground more than an inch.
Yes.
We managed to break through the rock in some places, but it was very, very, very difficult. I just don't understand how we managed to get our tents to like kind of stay where they were at some times.
Well, I mean, I didn't.
No, I came back to take down my tent on the end of the second day because we had to go to a different camping thing. And I found Clarkie's tent's outer sheet completely sort of like blowing in the wind, attached by a meagre peg which was about to come out of the ground.
So yeah, you can imagine my expression when I found out about that.
Yeah, I managed to just about put it back together, but it was... yeah, that was not pretty.
Well, I mean, in defense of the campsite itself, the staff there were really lovely, and the people who were sort of there to guard all of the tents and to make sure that no one was sneaking in and whatnot, they did a really good job of like catching my outer tent before it blew away into the nether, and they were really sort of friendly and easy to sort of get things from. So
fair play to the security and the staff there, they did a very good job. I got a little bit weirded out at one point because they asked to search my satchel when I was walking out of the event, and I was like, okay. It's because they thought I was stealing a laptop, possibly.
Well, that's just a standard thing they do at Insomnia. I mean, if you were to go out of the event with any bags at all, they would search you no matter what. So
do you have a piece of paper to like confirm it's your computer or whatever if you do want to take it out of the event then?
You do. Basically, when you have a bring your own computer ticket, you basically go there and they give you a badge that has your name on it and all of your details, like your seating, your booking number, and so on and so forth. And along with that, they give you 2 stickers. And the point of those stickers are that you put them on your tower and your monitor, and security will not let you leave the venue unless you have the stickers on of the towers and the monitors, and you have that badge present. So to try and steal something from that venue, like a tower or monitor, it would be quite a uphill struggle, to say the least. So I'm happy with the security there.
The way I would do it is they had a security checkpoint. I would have probably basically sent someone through who actually has brought a computer. And why am I planning theft here, actually?
Well,
look, spoilers, it comes down to there are slight gaps in the fence. Anyway, if you think you can fit a PC rig through there, then GG. But yeah, to be fair though, any advice for stealing from this place won't be relevant next time because it'll be in a different event, different location. So
well, it won't be actually.
Oh really? Are they still doing it in Coventry then? Next time?
I mean the previous venue in Telford, it was held there for about 3 years. I'm gonna say probably a bit more than that. But yeah, they only recently upgraded to have a sort of bigger venue with more rooms for computers and conventions and whatnot.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, if a lot of people complain about the campsite, wink wink, anyone listening who went to the event,
all 2 of you,
yeah, they might do something about the campsite and the bloody generators.
Oh, the generators! They had these things rigged up to large light things so you could find your way around the campsite at night. But the problem was the generators were so loud. One of the people I was with was actually in a tent next to one of the generators. We didn't realise how noisy it was when we set up because we wanted to be near Clarkie's tent, and he was very close to the generator as well.
Yes.
They could feel vibrations through the ground. And I was okay. My tent was a bit further away, but I could still hear it. I had to put in headphones and drown it out with the Assassin's Creed 4 soundtrack, just lie back and think of pirates. But yeah, it's... no.
Well, I mean, when we set up the tents initially, we didn't expect the generators to be as much of a nuisance.
No.
So when me and my friend... we came back from the LAN area to have a bit of a nap and whatnot at 2 o'clock in the morning. Having those generators that loud right next to your tent is not ideal. We literally had to leave the tent and go to Tesco to buy earplugs and pillows because of how uncomfortable and noisy it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was fun.
Bad memories.
Yeah. I mean, apart from the campsite, everything about the sort of LAN section I can't complain about. But yeah, that campsite just ruined a lot of things.
Fair enough then. Yeah, I think it's a funny event. I feel like I probably would have been better off in the bring your own computer bit. When you're surrounded by that many teenagers and little kids, I mean, I'm in my early 20s now, so I felt pretty awkward being there because there were a fair number of older guys there.
Yeah.
But age-wise, I was in a bit of a minority looking around. I'd say the average age of the person there would probably be about 16, 17.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I mean, it's the thing about the event, the bring your own computer side of things. The average age of that is actually quite high, mainly because it's one of the LAN's main features that you can just get completely drunk while on your computer with a bunch of random people. So it's the average age for the bring your own computer part is about not well over, but over 20.
Yeah.
So. That's where I was, so that's why I don't have any complaints about young children screaming all the time.
I saw, I think I saw a couple of like younger kids with like really big computers. I'd imagine it is for the kids, like, because what kind of adult would like sort of bring their sort of like children? It's like, you're going to watch me play video games, son. It's like, no, don't go over to the Oxcast panel. I'm playing TF2 here.
You don't get to leave. Well, yeah, I mean, you do have younger people there, obviously, and it is sort of catered to them as well with the whole exhibition halls and all that. So it's not completely bad for those people, like the people who are like underage for drinking and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I'd say it's mainly for those people who are there to meet up with friends online, like online friends at the actual LAN centre, and to just get completely smashed.
Fair enough then.
Yes.
So yeah, anything else you want to bring up about Insomnia? I think we've covered most of it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's really too much more to say apart from all of the previously mentioned stuff. So
not going next time.
Well, I mean, I will be, but I think I will be getting a hotel room as
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if I ever do go again, I'm probably going to also try and drag along Sam. For moral support in regards to like sort of like some of these things.
Yes.
I think if we both brought our laptops and like everyone else I went with, if we all just brought our laptops and sat down and marathon some co-op games, that would have been amazing.
Yeah, I think Multiplayer have done the event a very big injustice by marketing it as a exhibition more than a LAN, because the exhibitions, they're nice and everything, but that's not what a lot of people go there for, and well, at least initially what a lot of people went there for was to play video games, like for the LAN.
I turned up wanting to go shopping, and
yeah, I mean, I think that sort of side of the event was fine, but they shouldn't have marketed it as the main draw.
No. To be fair, they probably drew in like double the numbers due to Yogscast alone.
True.
In regards to that. So, fair play to them if it keeps the event going. It's like use the Yogscast above to finance the land below.
Yes. Literally in the basement playing video games.
There were floors upstairs and stuff as well. There was a big one right next to the main hall, the Jaguar Hall, I think it was.
It was, yes.
But yeah, you were underground.
Yeah, because that's where all of the...
that's what the cool people are.
Yeah, playing with shades on and everything. But yeah, I mean, overall, I had fun. I don't think you had as much fun.
I'm so sorry to the people I came with. Oh dear.
Yeah, well...
I was like being Captain Scowly Face for like a couple of days.
Well, I mean... I can understand your disappointment. I mean, that being your first event and with those expectations, it couldn't have been very enjoyable, the actual outcome.
So, final conclusions. If you are a PC gamer with a big rig who wants to play games with other people, or if you happen to be a Yogscast fan and happen to at least resemble a small child, then I would extremely recommend Insomnia 53 to you when that comes up.
Yeah, Insomnia 53 will most likely be in December sometime, so... what I would say is, if you did want to meet up with people that you play video games with online, Insomnia is a really good place to do it. I've met a lot of people at the event and online who I've then seen at the LAN, and I have made a lot of really good friends from it, so I can't really complain on my end.
Fair enough then. Cool. I think we've covered it all. So, GG.
Yes.
Cray.
Please no.
Oh, those guys. Yeah, don't watch that stuff. Catch you all soon.
Yeah. Bye.